All right, all right. Boy, it has been a while since we've had a drawing live to talk about all this scary, crazy news that's happening in the world.
Oh,
Mr. Alex, man, he's at a brand new job. Do
I feel pain.
you feel aged? Bro, I've built two businesses and raised three teenagers over the last 5 years. I'm about 80 now.
Yes, yes, but you don't look a day over 60, so it's great. Yeah,
No, it's the genes.
you did well. And the Gen X works.
All the genes. And just the final thing, sick people over the last 2 months have told me that I look like Ryan Gosling. What am I supposed to do with that? How do you respond when someone tells you that you look like a famous actor and you're someone who has never, ever wanted to be famous?
the first Ryan Gosling that came into my head was Remember the Titan. Yeah, I guess he looked like Ryan Gosling circa 2000.
Circa 2000. Well, thank you all for joining. Sorry about the explosive intro, but I am Michael Doran. This is Alex Mann. This is Comic Variant Live. We have not done a live show since July because I have ADHD and a lot of other crap going on, and I do not like making content, but I know I have to make content.
We like content.
We like content. We need to make more content. We need someone to do distribution and production for us, but that is another talk for another time. But more recently, I released an article last week, and I pinged it over to Alex, and he said, "This is the best one that you've written recently, and we need to go to a show and discuss it." And so there's a link. It's called "The World Is on Fire, and We Are the Ones That's Holding the Matches." And I've been spending a lot of time both with Claude and Chat GPT recently because you got to figure out the whole founder persona thing, right? Don't want people to think that I'm arrogant when I'm really not arrogant. I really don't think I'm better than anybody. I really don't. But really, the reason I wrote this is because I'm just starting to realize what a crazy major inflection point we're at. It has never been easier to build products. It's never been easier to do anything on the web. For instance, Alex, we're really, really close to releasing the beta of our platform. Everything is done with the exception of workflows, which is going to take a little bit longer. We
Yep.
N8N style workflows into our product. So it's going to take our engineer probably some time to unpack that and get that working. And so in the meantime, we've built essentially an AI sourcing tool, see Juicebox, see what MetaViews, see what all of these people are doing now. We've built it really efficiently, really, really quickly. We're about to release that at some point once we dog food that because we built it. Well, I guess we architected and MVP'd it in N8N that we self-host. Essentially, what we've done, anybody can do. And that's why we're gonna price it appropriately. And if you take everything that I'm saying right now and you blow it up into the macro economic, the macro political perspective, from my perspective, it gives a little bit of insight why we saw that line of billionaires at Trump's inauguration. Who knows better than they do how negatively they're going to be affected by AI?
I would say they use the phrase writing on the wall, and I think I thought today, for example, that Amazon is going to roll in all of their Whole Foods employees to be Amazon employees, like no more.
Me.
I mean, obviously that's coded language for more layoffs in Amazon slash
Yep.
Whole Food. And then again, the kind of overarching sort of line will be, well, AI will drive efficiency and we're going to optimize the office, the workplace.
Yep.
And when I think about we've spoken at length about the impact of AI on the workforce. And I think recruiting, as much as I've never been a recruiter, but been in that space for a long time, if you can take advantage of the AI tools that are at your disposal now, you're either as a recruiter founder or as a recruiter at an organization, it can't help but give you an edge. Yeah. I think about this across the board, and I've said this in a few episodes now, it's like the S curve. We're not anywhere near any full like breadth of like the output capability of AI. You know what I mean? Like we're crossing the surface. I saw something that reminded me. So like where I think we are now is like in 2010 when companies, what's your app strategy? What's your strategy for having an app? And now it's like, what's your strategy for having AI? And we all didn't. What happened to the world with like apps? You know what I mean? It's just like we've moved everything into a phone. Now it's moving everything into an intelligence. And I think like, I'm very curious, and I'm definitely going to be one of your alpha beta testers for your recruiting AI tool. But if I'm the recruiter today, I'm like, everyone's building tools for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sucks for everyone getting fired across the board. Don't get me wrong. And it's not like just for recruiters. It's like, seems like every department is like, it's every middle management, every entry level job is just being eliminated in large tech companies now. And we've said forever that there's a recession in tech. And I do believe there's a recession in tech that nobody wants to really talk about, as much as there's amazing new companies coming into the market. But I do think that like, these mass layoffs are obviously not a good signal. But I think like if you're in a job right now, to use AI is to give yourself an edge. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the kind of no brainer. And it's like, you're obviously talking about N8N there, which is like, it's like it levels to this game. You know what I mean? Like ChatGPT being the entry level kind of way to get into AI. But after that, it's like, how do I think about workflows? How do I think about like, and you can talk
Where
about
am I storing my data?
yeah, where's the in store? How's it moving? How's it informing decision making within the workflow process?
Who owns my data?
Well,
Do I own my
anyway.
data?
Well, what's your
Am I a data owner or am I a data product? Okay, so let me break it down for you because we're pitching. So here's the world that I see coming.
Yeah.
You're right. Tech layoffs continue to happen. Did you notice, like, when I got into Google, it was a big deal to get into Google.
Yes.
But at a certain point, 2017, 2018, 2019, all of a sudden you start seeing a lot of people going to Google, a lot of people going to Facebook from Atlanta, Tennessee, kind of like all over the place. Well, why? They already burned through all the recruiters that they didn't feel were first tier on the coast. So they had to find new fresh meat to take their abuse while they built their business and other places. And so what this did, unfortunately, is this got a lot of people thinking that they were world-class Google bar, who weren't. And why did these companies do it? Well, because they had unlimited money and unlimited resources and essentially just were growing, building off of the ZERP era structure. But everything's been destroyed by AI. That ZERP era corporate structure has been destroyed. We've been seeing it in all the layoffs for the last 2 years. That ZERP era layoff is negatively impact venture capital. I don't know what the big capital guys are going to do. They keep hoarding and only giving their money to people who passed their sniff test without realizing the brave new world that's advancing in front of them.
I would kind of contest that on some level because I mean, like every fund is trying to invest in AI now, and so I think the bigger question is,
Are they invested in the top level LLMs developed, like the tier one LLMs?
oh, I see what you're saying.
In
No, like
AI functions?
yeah, like the vertical fast adoption.
Okay. Is it
like
an AI wrapper or is it a native AI tool? Because an ex-client of mine, Landbase, came out earlier this year raising $30 million, and they were going to be this standalone entrant, all-in-one AI built for workflow teams. They've already
yeah,
pivoted from that strategy.
yeah. I mean,
Completely.
it's yeah, but like it's a game of conviction. Like okay, this is not working. You gotta pivot fast. It's interesting.
But now, is that the right attitude?
Well, yeah, I think so.
I don't
I
think
think like when you raise the capital, you do
it
what you
doesn't work in that moment. It doesn't work for that idea. It doesn't work
yeah.
for that. It doesn't work for the team you put together attacking that idea, but is it that the idea doesn't work?
Well, that's a very fair question. I mean, look, if your original
What you're
hypothesis isn't,
saying here, this is what I'm
yeah,
saying here bigger, Alex, is that we've got VCs and founders from the ZERP era who are still acting like they're in the ZERP era. They're building software for businesses. They're trying to scale as rapidly as they can. They're leaving a wake of negativity behind them in the impact in their employees' lives, in the impact into the market, in the impact to their investors, and the impact in everybody, right? This era is over. Okay. So what does that mean? So let's say you're someone like me who's got over 25 years of experience in your craft and you've worked for big companies and you've been there and done that and now you've been laid off and you feel like you're over the hill and you're like, well, what the hell do I do now? You need to build. You need to build. We have the ability to build an entirely new economy that does not include these Web 2.0 stalwarts who came in and set the stage in front of us. We can build independently of them. In the article, I go back to Tim Berners-Lee, who is very dismayed with what's happened to his internet, by the way, because the internet was built to be decentralized. And what did the first wave of people who came in and consolidated resources and money, what did? They centralized. Why? To steal the data and control the data. Why? Because data is power. And now what's happening? They're backing autocrats.
I mean,
Well, I'm happy to debate this with you.
oh
And
no,
I'm
no,
not,
I mean, like
I'm not
the politics of where we find ourselves today, obviously,
well, no,
are
look,
very
yeah, it's all
language.
entwined. It's all entwined. It's all entwined. And I'm a full digital anarchist here.
I don't dispute you. I don't have time for that. I do think though, if like a recruiter is listening to this conversation, okay, and I'm like, look, it probably sucks that they're looking for work, they're looking for gigs, they're looking for, opportunity to like speak to companies and source for companies and whatever else. I think the overarching message is that like it isn't really going to kind of get any better. So like the options are what go
Well,
build
who's not
themselves.
going to get any better?
Well, I'm that's what I'm trying to tone from you.
Well,
Like
listen,
what
you remember what Steve Jobs said, right? He looked around and he saw a world that was created by people who were not necessarily smarter than he was. We are living this right now. I was talking to another tech CTO earlier this week. And the funny thing was is that he and I started talking about this and he had not even read my article. And then I pinged him my article and afterwards he's like, wow, like this is exactly what I'm seeing. All right, let's only break it down for you folks. I got another friend. He's somebody I knew from back from 2013. This guy is like, he is a growth hacker before growth hacker was a thing. This guy was scraping Facebook back in like 2012. And Facebook were like, what are you doing, kid? This guy's very, 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 very smart, pretty well connected. He's got another friend of his who's created a new AI tool that combines Claude, Gemini, and a few others that this guy says is essentially AGI. I don't know if it is or not. It seems very, very interesting. They are so productive with this. GitHub kicked them off their platform. Do you know what they did?
did they do? They
They
hacked it up.
created the GitHub clone in 2 days. They don't need GitHub anymore. That's what I'm talking about here, people. We all need to wake up. We don't need to be owned by these people. We start the revolution by taking control of our data. Every single person listening to this can be involved. If you're still lucky enough to work in a corporation and you have a budget, take a look who you're spending that budget with. Are you spending it with traditional big companies just because they send you a basket at Christmas or maybe take you out to lunch once a week? Find a new upstart who's maybe been laid off from companies and starting their own business and building tools. Invest in them instead. If you're one of the myriad of people out there who've been laid off, but you've got 20, 30 years, You ought to be going through your LinkedIn and your network every single day, taking a look at your network. Who do you know? How well do you know them? And you need to start building that network up and build your own business. We are the ones who can create our way out of the mess that other people have placed us into. And that is why there's, in my opinion, that is why we are now seeing everything that we're seeing in society. Because people at the top who control all the money and all the power are finally at the point where they're starting to quake in their boots a little bit. Rebuttal?
Also, yeah, that's the perhaps. Well, I mean, I just felt like my view would be I would be less. I don't want to say conspiratorial. It's probably a bit too like on the spectrum way of describing it, but I definitely think like yeah, like big companies have their way of doing business, and if you're not in them, so in that sense, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, look,
Too
you
big,
can.
Alex.
Yeah, I don't dispute that either. I just am like, you know what, like you can build your own version of any product.
Build your own version of any product now.
Yeah, like, and I mean, that's very cool. I mean, like, we're hacking products, we're hacking features.
Instagram.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and that's great. But like, if I'm going back to like the fact that like the market really does suck for jobs. I mean, we send each other articles all the time.
We
That's
build new companies and create jobs.
and I think we, and I will say this to our credit, in one of our first episodes, probably what, like a year ago, we were talking about there's going to be there's going to be 1,000, 10,000 people companies left.
Yeah.
But like in that, there's absolute scope for 10,000, 1,000 people companies.
Or
Meaning, like,
100,000 100-person companies. If you have a new 100,000 100-person companies, how many companies will then get built to support them? Another
what
100,000, 200,000?
you know, it's interesting. It's interesting because I spoke to an ATS startup last week, and they are an AI for an ATS, and I don't know the ins and outs of what it is in the AI, but they're all engineers. Okay, so they're not recruiters, but they think they've cracked something. Yeah, you know what I mean. But like,
Sure.
there's $6 million ARR business.
Sure. For now.
You know what? But one of the key
For
things
now.
that they said to me was, which is amazing. But one of the things they said to me was, like, we don't want to raise any more headcount within the company if we can figure out how to apply AI to every part of the stack within the company.
Everybody's doing that.
Exactly. And that's
Where's the quality control?
that's the hope, isn't it? Like, it's not like, oh, just let it rip. It's like they were querying me about the very specific product we sell within the entire stack.
We shouldn't work for companies like Mercor.
Yeah, we thought it.
Those companies who are offering you $200 an hour for all of your knowledge. You are selling yourself out for what? You're going to get a short-term paycheck to pay some short-term bills. Where are you going to be in 2 years? Where are you going to be in 2 years when you've been stripped of all your knowledge and your work? You might hear a little. I'm angry at what's happening. I'm angry at all the people, professionals out there who've been victimized by these big companies. They've been used. They've been thrown away. I'm angry.
Okay, so actually, this is a good topic, right? The thing is, like, your cohort of peers, say people in their 40s, upper middle management, okay? What's the conversations that you're having with those kinds of people? Like, I presume they're angry given you're giving voice to that, but talk to me about like, you know, the job struggle or what you're hearing from people.
Being terrified.
Yeah, so tell me, let's talk about that.
People are terrified. Terrified. Okay, that's where this anti-AI backlash is coming to. People think that if they get angry at the AI, or if they put people down for using the AI, people right now are fucking terrified. And I can't say that I don't blame them. Like, in this world where this Instagram fake world where everybody's famous and everybody's happy all the time, like, people need to be real. Last year, we went 7 months with very income or revenue coming in. It was terrifying. Fortunately, I had made some good investments. Also, fortunately, I had a few close relationships with people that over time that business came back and we were able to recover from it. We're still
Yeah.
recovering from it in many ways, financially. It was terrifying. It was debilitating. And at the same time, it's very easy then for an individual to fall into a cycle of depression.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening in mass across our country. And you hear a lot of talk in the political spheres, the MAGAs, they want to destroy institutions and tear down this system that doesn't work. Well, these idiots are looking at things like the State Department or federal. The institutions that we need to destroy are the Web 2.0 companies that have trapped us. And I get what I'm saying here. We need to stop using Amazon. I get it. I know how convenient it is. They created it like that for a reason. We can be more selective in who we do business with and who we give money to and who we give our data to. And we all need to start working together and really tapping our networks and get back into the good old days.
Has the market, here's the thing, has the market for jobs become ageist?
It's absolutely ageist. I don't even look my age and I feel like I've aged out. It's absolutely ageist. Absolutely. I mean, it'll be ageist until the millennials reach their 40s and 50s, and then maybe it won't be so ageist anymore.
So, because like, well, I saw something interesting on LinkedIn last week, and it was a woman from Amazon, and she posted about her journey to find a job after being laid off, maybe like 9 months, and she's still without a job. But she was like expecting an analogous job. Like I was at this salary at this level at Amazon, thus I'm not looking for anything that's not that. But those kind of jobs don't exist anymore. Is there a disconnect between being seeing the problem at ageist versus like there's a mismatching of sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like you have notions that you deserve that kind of salary and status because you had it at that company and thus but it doesn't exist anymore.
This is a famous story in my family. Oh, back when we lived in Illinois, we lived in an awesome neighborhood, man. And I knew so many of my neighbors. I don't necessarily hear. I kind of miss it. Like we all had little kids. We walked down to get ice cream and stuff. Like it was fantastic. I remember one time we were walking home and one of the dads came up and talked to me and he knew I was a recruiter and he had kind of confided in me that he'd been out of work for 2 years. Now this is like 2009, 2010. So this was the old world, right? And I was like, well, okay, well, tell me what was your title and what type of jobs you've been looking for. And he had been a director and he was only applying to director jobs. And I looked right at him. I'm like, listen, man, you are in what I call the director trap. You work so hard to become a director. You don't want to not be a director, but most companies only have a handful of directors, if that. And most of them aren't going anywhere. They're trying to make the VP, and there's only like a couple of VPs, like a handful of directors, couple of VP,
Yeah.
and one boss. I'm like, you need to adjust your expectations. You need to be open to manager or senior manager positions, and you work your way back, man. You need to
Yeah.
have revenue in. You need to get income in the door. Dude had a job within 3 months. It was a mental block inside of his head. And what I would posit to you, Alex, is that we are all now collectively, everybody who's not in the top 1%, we are all now collectively trapped into another mental block.
Yeah.
We need to go work for a big company. We need to get a big salary. I don't want to start a business, though I'm probably well equipped to and have the network to because I'm afraid or that's a big risk. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained, folks. I mean, do you think it was really difficult when World War II was spinning up for people to send their children off to fight and not know if they could never see them? But they did. Do you think it's going to be difficult for us all to start to eschew the trappings of the digital world that's been created for us and build a new, better, more equitable one? Yes. But what happens if we don't do it? Do we just continue to let the big tech companies gain more and more and more control? Or do we take what they built, take what they've taught us? Because see, like what these big tech companies don't realize is that when they went into their massive expansion period, they let the foxes into the chicken house. Every intelligent person who came in and learned how they operated, learned how they scaled, learned how they grew, that's valuable knowledge. Valuable. And we could have a wonderful world. We could have, so Alex, my father sold hardware supplies. I'm talking like weather stripping, that plastic sheets you put over your windows to keep the cold air out, all that type of stuff. But like, dude, he was focused full time on building relationship. Okay. Like people, I think, like, looked at me enviously because like my parents had me later in life, and so I kind of got to enjoy the trappings of this world. But like, I grew up going to country clubs and seeing my dad golf with people. I ended up going to concert venues, and when nobody wanted the seats, that they would take people to catch John Denver or Neil Diamond or Barry Manilow, all people who I've seen live, by the way. Uh, they wined and dined people. And this is actually somewhere I really want to talk to you about, because I'm not a salesperson per se. Like for my career, that's all gone. I'm sure it still exists at the highest levels because they still get it. Right. So I'm sure like the investor people are doing it, the VCs people are doing it, the people really close to the capital are all still doing that stuff if they're smart. But everybody else, all the line salespeople, all the line business relationship people, they funnel them into offices. They've put them in front of a computer. They've given them CRMs and systems, and they've given them quota. And then they gave them SDRs, and it's sell. I think about all the products that I've had clients buy over the year where we've spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars on systems. Never even so much as gotten a thank you from the salespeople. Don't know who the salespeople were. Certainly, those salespeople never kept up with me to keep a relationship with me. And this is what I'm talking about. We have all been sucked into a system with information technology that has allowed a small minority to get obscenely wealthy. And now they're being fucking stupid about it. Because instead of being smart like the Fiat family and building villages where people live really well and taking care of employees and not looking at them as expendable and disposable, we now live in a world where anyone's expendable. Do you enjoy it, everybody? Do you enjoy being expendable?
Do you,
I
I mean, I felt that like people have the choice to, do you like
Well,
it?
how often as a salesperson are you focused on legitimately, genuinely developing a relationship with people?
I mean, I went for 2 coffees yesterday, and I make it my thing to be like, "Hey, if I can meet somebody for a coffee or a lunch, well,
How
I do
often
go do that."
we
But
all have lots of coffee talks. How often do you follow up with those people? How many additional follow-up coffees?
always,
Really?
always.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm a psycho for a
And
follow-up.
how
Like,
often does that directly result in sales or revenue for you?
I'll give you an example. One time recently, I think somebody replied in the 10th email. As in, I think about what I'm going to say and write it. So, like, I will sit down and go through the entire pipe and work my through. Because if somebody puts up their hand, like, they might not be ready on the first go to have that conversation with you, but everyone's busy and everyone's got one of these in their hand, okay? And so everyone's distracted. So your job is just to remind them of the value of what you're selling them. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. And I'm like, sometimes people get like embarrassed. I'm like, somebody said to me before, one of the great things is get them to tell you to fuck off. And if that's the case, just be nice. You know what I mean? But like,
Your job is
Could
to
you?
remind them of the value that you're selling them at that moment.
Well, like in the sense of like you're not trying to like fuck someone over. Like you only consider somebody a profitable.
Well, hey, at least I'm not fucking you. This is what I'm talking about. Our job should be getting them to realize that Alex Mann is an arena expert. And where Alex Mann works is someplace that I should be paying attention to. When you're thinking about it, the value of the product that you're selling. And I'm saying that you need to look at it at the value of who you are. Because look at your last company that you were at when we started this podcast. You're not with them anymore.
Yeah.
You're not with them anymore.
I'm not.
You know, someplace better.
I will say this. Like I am very lucky and very. I would have a unique personality for risk,
Sure.
or relatively unique. And what I mean by that is like I don't mind looking at things that's pre-revenue or early stage and going like fuck it, YOLO, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I have a double impact where I have a visa sitting on top of my head, where you basically have to make it work. You know, like otherwise you're in a race against the clock to get the next one. And my advice, people have asked me that, you know, like about, like I have a friend of mine who's working at a very, very large tech company and he's joining a startup for the first time and in sales. And he was like asking me about like the culture and I go, dude, like it's all on you. There isn't somebody that you can call to make a deck. There isn't a sales collateral library. There isn't a solutions architect. There isn't anything. You are everything in it. So if you're willing to basically not sleep Monday to Friday, catch up on Saturday and have family time on Sunday, if that's something that you're down for, then you'll be fine. Like I find like getting involved in like startups that's like I consider startups a bet. And not like blackjack, but there is no such thing as a safe bet. Like well-funded startup. But you know what's interesting? When I joined Lambda School in 2019, I looked at that company and I go, they're all early Facebook and early Uber people that are there. And I was like, I want to know these people. This is going to be an unlock for my career.
Sure.
It was amazing peers. I will say this, like amazing people. But without trying to like shit on the product of the school or whatever, I mean, anyone can Google it and see all the litany of things to get. But that wasn't a success for me, you know, personally. Like I look at that and I go, you know what, that bet didn't pay off. But it opened other doors for me to have conversations with other people that then opened doors for like different kinds of opportunity. And I guess the product of me not being married or having kids also makes it easier for me to be more dynamic in my career in the sense that I can make more quote unquote like risky bets. Like I was talking to somebody else my age recently and he said that he was golden handcuffed. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, not the salary. He's like, I don't give a shit as much about the salary. Like I would take less of a salary to have a better job. It's more like healthcare, you know, like, okay, he works at a big tech company. They basically cover the healthcare. They have a kid and a kid on the way. Like having a child in the United States is a very expensive proposition. What is it? An average is out about 30 grand. So, you know, if your company pays for that, kind of a good reason to stay there. There isn't really maternity or paternity leave in the United States in any real sense. So like my sister in Ireland had 6 months like paid for, you know what I mean? Like it's amazing. Doesn't exist
Any
here.
smart American is envious of Europeans for material.
Totally. And this is the thing. It's like, but that would impact the decision making that
know,
I would potentially make.
I never got paternity once. I was a
Yeah.
contractor. I think I did finally get it at Stericycle, but then they gave me like 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I mean, come on, you're barely even settling into the gig. You know, with 2 weeks. And this is the thing. So like, and the reason why I asked about the agent studies thing earlier is because it's so a different universe to the universe as a job seeker or as a person involved in the talent space. It is a different universe for me because I don't have these extraneous sort of pressures that exist in other people. So like I totally get it when somebody who's like in their 40s and 50s is laid off from a really good job at a tech firm and they've got kids, mortgage, wife, you know what I mean? And God knows what's happening within those lives. Like some also
So
moving.
when you just save, 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 have you seen the world we live in?
I was talking to somebody about this and they were talking about school in San Francisco. And they were saying there's some French school, some French elementary school in San Francisco that's 90 grand a year.
Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
Have we lost our minds? Like 90. And well, I was like, I'm sure public school's fine. And he's like, oh yeah, we were laughing. We were laughing. Yeah.
In general, this is what I posit. Everyone keeps saying we're in late stage capitalism, late stage capitalism. You know why? Because people are tired. And I think now we're getting to the point where people want the whole system to burn. They don't care anymore. We don't want that. We don't want violence. We don't want the whole system to burn. But it doesn't mean that we can't all get angry at this bill of goods that we've been sold that's turned our lives into a nightmare and collectively decide enough.
Yeah,
Enough.
I mean,
Enough. It only takes, we need, this is a movement, Alex. We need to start a movement that's focused on everybody that's not in the 1% and focus on everybody that's feeling left behind. And we need to start new businesses. We need to create new industries. We need to create new economies. And we need to include others who are like-minded. For instance, like an idea I have, we need to rebuild every small town in America. Every downtown in America that was destroyed by shopping malls. Well, how can we do that? Well, here's a great idea that I would recommend somebody build. If you're involved in building Wish or Amazon or one of those, go raise some money and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a whole new class of category where we are going to find people who want, and we're going to make it easy for them to have franchises for, let's say, a tool store or this store or that store. What were all those old stores that people used to go and shop in downtown before the mall and then the internet destroyed? And get those people the equipment they need or all the inventory that they need. Help them find, because have you driven through America lately? Have you seen the amount of commercial real estate that's available in small towns? And we just build a system where people can buy franchises, we can help them set up. And then if you don't have the product that someone needs, you can tap into a world-class global economic supply line that could ship them that in a day. That would mean that we would not have to shop at Walmart anymore. And that would mean that we don't have to shop at Amazon anymore. And you could actually be supporting your neighbors. That's just one idea I have. I've got about 1,000 of them, of small businesses that towns need to build community. We need to create third spaces. We need to create local businesses. And we need to take what we've learned and create a better America and then a better world. And we need to minimize the impact that the big guys have on us, because the one thing that drives them is money. So we need to cut them off from the drug that they've been addicted to. And I get it. Easier said than done, Mike. What you're talking about is monumental. Guess what, people? And you want to be an American, right? Well, welcome. This is what it means to be an American. Okay? We don't sit around and wait for other people to do shit for us. We pick ourselves up and we go do it for ourselves. If we don't like what we see in the world, we go out and make something better. That is what America has always done. And that is what Americans need to do right now.
well, I'm inspired. So hopefully
I'm
leave it alone.
fired up.
You're fired up.
Fired up, ready to go.
If there's ever a sign off message that should get everybody hyped.
I can be reached at Michael at TeamSourced.com. Use my products instead of all the other ones out in the market that are VC backed when I release them. Support me. Help me to create the fastest growing bootstrapped consumer product ever brought to the market. Give me the financial resources that I need, and we can fix America first, and then we can take a look at the rest of the world. This is what Americans do. This is what we're here to do. This is what we're being called to at this moment in time. And thank you for joining us. And hopefully, the next Talent Grind Live, which will be in a week or two, won't be as caustic as this one. But I said a lot of things that I think needed to be said. Adios.